Hello learners, welcome to our series Concept Behind Current Affairs. In this session or in this series, we will analyze a current affair news from all aspects including its concepts. Today, we are diving into a serious, rare and deadly brain infection that has been making headlines recently. It is called Amoebic Meningoencephalitis. This topic is incredibly important, especially for us in India, so stick around to learn all about it. My name is Kshitij Dhiman and let's get started. So first of all, let us see why is it in news. As you can see from the headlines from the Hindu newspaper, rare amoebic infection claims another life. Secondly, fourth case of rare brain eating amoeba reported in Kerala. So recently, as you can see, according to the news reports, kids are sadly losing their lives due to this bacteria. These cases have raised alarm bells across the country, bringing the attention to this rare but deadly disease. So it is a rare disease, right? But it's a deadly disease. Rare but deadly. Again, every headline says rare. So keep this context in mind. Now we should understand, of course, what is it. So the first step to understanding anything is to break down what the words mean, right? So what exactly is amoebic meningoencephalitis? So we are going to have a breakdown of the word and understand word by word. See, meninges means membrane. Please see the image on the right. Meninges, these are membranes around our brain and spinal cord. They protect our central nervous system, right? So we have understood what is meninges. Now whenever swelling of this membrane happens, it means meningitis. Okay, it means meningitis. And encephalitis is the swelling of the brain. So if you see the images of the brain part and the meninges above it. So if the brain is or brain has swollen, it is called encephalitis, and when the meninges are swollen, they are called, that situation is called meningitis. So when both are, when both have swollen, it is called meningoencephalitis, and when it is caused by an amoeba, it is called amoebic meningoencephalitis. So I hope now you understand the meaning of this word. Now the disease is actually called primary amoebic meningoencephalitis. So don't get confused if UPSC asks primary, right? So it is called a PAM disease. So this disease is rare, it is serious, of course, that's why we are reading about it, right? So it is a very rare and serious infection of the central nervous system, all right, and it is almost always fatal. So I have highlighted the words, please understand them, right? UPSC can twist something in this. And finally, what is an amoeba? Amoeba is an organism with just one cell, right? So we have done the nomenclature. I hope you have understood the words that were in the name. So the amoeba, right, it is in the shape of a semicircular thing, and here you can see it is seen with a microscope, and this is an image of the cerebrospinal fluid of a person. Now this amoeba is called Naegleria fowleri, right? Let's see in the next slide. So the cause of the disease. Now this disease is caused by infection by Naegleria fowleri. It is also called as a brain eating amoeba, and remember, it is microscopic in nature. So UPSC can ask this also, UPSC can ask this also. So UPSC has a habit of asking things in synonyms so that you get confused, and in the exam pressure you do get confused. So remember all this, that is why I've put up these words, right? Now where it is found, what is the habitat? So it is found in warm stagnant freshwater bodies like lakes, rivers and hot springs, right? And why it is important for India? In Indian context, we can see that of course in summer months the temperature rises, hence conditions which are favorable to this bacteria, it is not rare in India, okay, not rare in India, this is important. So these conditions, just a second, let me select the eraser. So these conditions are not, remember, not rare in India, so they happen. Alright, and around 20 cases have been reported in India till now, not this year, but till now 20 cases have been reported. Now what about the temperature? See, this amoeba thrives in temperature above 25 degrees hot water, right? So that is why it will be found also in hot springs. So where it is found, what is the distribution? It is found of course in any warm water that you can see, but that warm water should be dirty or not well maintained, right? So it is found in warm, shallow fresh water, and of course one thing which is very important, that it is also found in soil. Now UPSC can confuse you here, alright, that is it found only in water, okay? So something like this can be asked, so pay attention, right? Now what is the nature of this, what is the nature of this organism? It is a free living organism. It is a free living organism because it doesn't need a host, alright, it doesn't need a host, remember this. Again this can be twisted to create doubt in your mind in the exam. Finally, it does not survive in seawater, it does not survive in saline conditions, right? Hence again it is not found in seawater, it is not found in seawater. So this is the characteristic of the amoeba. Now this is important because just many people will just teach you the cause, but understanding the nature of the amoeba is also important because they can ask some easy question on that, right? So let's move forward. How do you get infected? So how does it spread? Any which way you can understand this. The most common way of being infected by this type of amoeba is when infected water, it goes into your nose. Now from there the amoeba goes to your brain. Now this usually happens, this situation, this path which I just discussed, we have in point 1 and 2. Now this happens when you are swimming, diving, or doing something like water skiing in infected water. Now in extremely rare cases, the infected water can also come, or it can also be the heated tap water or swimming pool water that isn't chlorinated enough, and it is also, if it is also not maintained enough. So this case has happened in USA. There is a famous video on TikTok, or you can say shorts or Instagram, but the point is the person is not shown when they had the disease, when they contracted the disease. It is shown in the video when the person was jumping into a very dirty swimming pool. The water was almost black. So please be aware of this thing. Now is it caused by just swallowing the water? No, you can't be infected by swallowing this infected water. And another good thing is it is not transmissible. That means this infection cannot spread from person to person, right? So this is the nature of its spread. Now let's move ahead. What are the symptoms? This is quite an easy thing to notice, but still what happens is symptoms are similar to many other diseases. So issue becomes of diagnosing this disease properly. So symptoms come after 1 to 9 days after the exposure. Initial symptoms are severe headache, fever, nausea, vomiting, stiff neck, seizures, even hallucinations also happen, right? So as I have written in advanced symptoms. So seizures, altered mental states, hallucination, and coma and death. This is the worst case scenario. See, although anyone can be infected, let's come to the vulnerability factors. Anyone can be infected, but certain factors increase the vulnerability of the person, like weak immune system. If they also, if they have history of some problem in their nasal or sinus, or if there is any activity that involves exposure to warm fresh water, right? So these are the symptoms and how vulnerability is there. Now, can we cure it? Do we have a cure? Is there a treatment? What are the chances of survival? All these things we are just going to see, right? So what is the cure? Currently, sadly, there is no effective cure for this disease by this amoeba, and fatality rate is above 97%. Yes, early diagnosis can help, but then again it is difficult to diagnose this disease in an early stage. That is the issue. And even if drugs are given, treatments are given, but still there are chances that the person might not survive, and there is a reason for this, because the amoeba eats the brain very quickly. Okay, so the reason is the amoeba eats the brain very quickly. Right? Why there is high fatality rate and why prognosis is not a good one on this disease. So what are the treatment options? When the disease is confirmed and diagnosed 100%, then there are a lot of drugs that are given. 7 to 8 drugs are given, combination of them, not all of them, and it is hoped that the person fights and survives, right? Now, so what should we do? Of course, I know this is a slightly negative thing, this disease, but again, the thing is it's rare, and if you are careful enough, you won't get infected. So how do we protect ourselves? The best thing is prevention. I think in our lives we have heard this slogan many times: prevention is better than cure. So the prevention is needed. So what are the steps that you can take to reduce your risk? See, avoid swimming in warm fresh water, especially during hot weather. Use nose clips and hold your nose shut in fresh water if you are diving in. Keep your head above water in hot springs. Avoid disturbing shallow warm waters. Shallow means which do not have lot of depth, because the bacteria might be collected there. Now, be cautious about swimming locations. Like I've told you, don't go into water that is not clean. Always ask around. If the let's say you're going to a swimming pool, then ask around to the manager if the water is chlorinated properly. So remember, the key takeaways, the key point to remember is, it is not about avoiding water, right, but being cautious about where you swim, right? So if caution is taken into account, yes, it is a avoidable issue. Now, although the topic is over, we are done with the topic, but I have brought some things to, let's say, to grab your attention, right? So that this also creates a question in your mind. Is this issue or rise of this issue related to climate change? So there has been a rise in such cases world over, not just in India. So warming of the atmosphere, okay? Warming of the atmosphere and the stagnant and unhygienic water resources, are they the contributing factors? So there is no scientific study on it, but there are experts who have said that it might be contributing. It might not be the only cause, but it might be helping the bacteria to grow. So climate change is obviously increasing the sea surface temperature and temperature of the world. So this amoeba, since it is found more actively in the warm water, so there might be a contributing factor. Remember, contributing factor and not the only cause. Okay. Finally, there are some questions that I want you to think on, and I want to leave these questions in your mind so that you can analyze more. See, is this disease because of the lifestyle changes that is happening and which is making people more vulnerable? Secondly, is it the change in the environment that is favoring this organism? Connect the dot to climate change. Also, we need to figure out that if the virus is becoming more dangerous, that is it evolving to becoming resistant in nature? Also, finally, is the waste, the dumping of the waste or the pollution that we are creating in the natural water bodies, is it also favoring the growth of such organisms? Right. So these are questions to think on. Right. Do understand this. These are given for your benefit. Please think on this. Okay. All right. So that is all for this session. I hope you found the topic interesting and relevant. Right. We have tried to keep it short and sweet. So if you have any doubts, please let us know in the comment section. Also, if there is any feedback, anything we can improve, do let us know, right? So thank you for your time. Stay curious and stay informed.